Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse. Today I'm going to tell you how I survived nursing school, and hopefully my experiences can help you a bit. So this video comes actually as a request, an answer to a request that I got from one of my viewers who said something really sweet. She said, hey, I'm going to go into nursing school now and you're an inspiration, and all those things that make your heart go, oh, how sweet. So let me tell you about my experience. Okay, so the advice that I'm going to give you depends heavily on whether or not you are choosing an LPN, 2-year RN, or a 4-year BSN RN. I have a 4-year Bachelor's of Science with Nursing, and we used to joke it was a Bachelor's of Science in nothing. But I have the 4-year nursing degree with the RN. All right, so first off, if you are going for a 4-year RN, you have to understand that the first 2 years of completing your programs, you are with essentially the rest of people completing their prerequisites for a science degree, okay? So you're going to have your maths and science and all those other things. The way that you learn and succeed those first 2 years, you have to completely forget that when you get into nursing school, the second half of your 4-year program. When you enter into the 3rd year of your nursing program in a bachelor's level, you are going to have to fundamentally change the way that you take tests, the way that you plan, and honestly, the way that you rate your own success. But if I could give you one word of encouragement in all of this, nobody gives a rat's behind what your grade point average is in nursing school as long as you pass your NCLEX. Your NCLEX, of course, is your nursing license exam, okay? Now, one of the things that I noticed personally in nursing school, I went through the first 2 years of my program and I had darn near a 4.0. I want to say I should get my transcript out somewhere. It was like in the high 3.8s or 3.9s, okay? So I was used to getting straight A's. I was an honor student all through high school. I took AP courses all through high school, right? So I felt like I was fairly well prepared for college. I noticed a significant transition, okay, with the girls that I went through nursing school with. The first 2 years, we were all like rocking out solid A's in chemistry and math, etc. I noticed that some people, once they hit nursing, it was like if it wasn't concrete and if it wasn't provable, then they didn't seem to do very well. In psych, for instance, in psych nursing, which I totally love, psych for me was a breeze. I didn't have to study one lick for that class. And I came out with, I would say, like a 95 average or something in that class. It was really high. But I found that folks who came with me through nursing school who were very focused on the gut components of like A plus B equals C, the very concrete understandings, they did not fare so well in abstractions, okay? You'll also find in nursing school that the reading is atrocious. The amount of reading that you're assigned is impossible. Okay, let's just call it what it is. It is impossible. I did not do my reading. I did, let me rephrase that. I did some of my reading. But let me encourage you, because if you're taking a course load, which is a standard nursing degree, you're going to have so much reading and so much clinical hours and so much lecture time that it's going to be impossible to do. So what I effectively did was I learned to speed read, and I'll put a link in the description box below. There is a book that really does teach you how to speed read. It's quite helpful, and I would recommend that you definitely get your hands on that before you enter nursing school. Another thing that I did from a reading standpoint was before I would read the chapters, okay, I would skim the entirety of the chapter first, and then I would go back. So essentially I would read this thing like 3 or 4 times. My eyes would touch those pages 3 or 4 times before I actually read it. Skim it first, then go back and read first and last sentence of each paragraph, and then go back and then essentially read that again, because you're going to see new things each time. And then at the end, I would read the bullet points, the conclusions, etc. And then I would go through the questions at the ends of the chapter, the quizzes, right? To be able to prepare me a little bit better for it. Let's talk about managing personalities. Nursing instructors are notorious for being very heartless people. And I think there are many reasons for this. I actually had a fair mix in my nursing program. I had some people that really should not have been teaching. For personal and professional reasons. They had no business instructing upcoming nurses. And then I had some instructors who I think probably inspired me more than any other group of people in what I ended up doing. Some very devoted women who were my instructors. Now, you may or may not have good nursing instructors. And oh, by the way, one of the things that I've done professionally in my life is I was a clinical instructor. So I know what it's like to be on both ends of this equation, both on the teaching end and on the student end, okay? When you are working with either a clinical instructor, faculty, staff, or whatever, respect is important, but you have to understand, in many cases, these people have the ability to make your life very, very difficult. So I would interact as little as you can. Show up on time, get your stuff done, stay under the radar. Do not be the nail that sticks out. There's a Japanese proverb that says the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. I apparently could not control this with myself. So I ended up a few times having a few personality conflicts. And I really hope that that does not end up being the case with you. But just basically keep your head down. Keep your head down, do your work, don't cause trouble, just be quiet. Just be quiet and go through there and get it done. Let me talk with you for a sec about balancing your home and school and all of that. The people in my classes who got some of the highest grades, I observed that they had some of the worst bedside manners. I thought that in many cases, and it wasn't envy on my standpoint, because believe me, I checked myself. I observed that quite often they were very heartless people. They were very scientifically minded, and they lacked empathy in many cases. And a lot of these fellow students of mine were in the bachelor's program for the express purpose of going on immediately to a master's, either a nurse anesthetist, family nurse practitioner, etc. And that's fine. I'm not saying that that is a terrible thing. But what I did notice is that for people who lacked balance, and for people who would do all the reading, for people who would spend hours on end at the library, or for folks who didn't socialize or have a balanced family or church or home or anything like that, they lacked good care skills. And that's important to being a nurse. What you've got to ask yourself at the end of the day, okay, is what type of nurse do you want to be? And as a subset of that, or maybe I should say the nursing point should be a subset to this, what type of person do you want to be? All right? Anybody, any freaking monkey can go and pass a test, okay? And we want to pass tests. Those are good. We need to show competency. But at the same time, nursing isn't just about competency. It's about caring too. And if you allow nursing school to sap the life out of you, it will. And you will graduate a very burnout person. I did. And I had to take time off after I graduated and took my NCLEX, because it was a marathon for 4 years. People seriously underestimate the amount of work that we do in the bachelor's program. And I graduated magna cum laude. I worked my patootie off for 4 years. And it was hard. And it will be hard, okay? But at the end of the day, going through that allowed me to have some of the greatest experiences. Heck, it allowed me to have this channel, okay? It allowed me to be able to reach people at times in their lives when they needed someone who cares. And Lord willing, that will be the case for you too in nursing. Another bit of advice that I would like to offer you, there are so many specialties out there for nurses nowadays. Go into your nursing program with an open mind. Okay, that's the best way I can describe it. And another thing I would say is don't let an instructor like poo-poo your whole experience. And that's really hard, okay? Because instructors really do make or break curriculum. I don't care what is said. If you have a really crappy teacher, it's going to make your enjoyment of that class proportionally lower, and therefore you're not going to want to do as well, and so your interest, of course, is going to go near like that. But I can say without a doubt that the classes that I found the most interesting, those ended up being the areas that I went and specialized in. And hopefully if you find something that really piques your fancy when you're studying it in school, pay attention to that, because you're going to have opportunities in the upcoming times, whether it's for an externship, which you do in your third year, or an internship, which is what you do at the end of your fourth year, at least in my program. That's what it was. And it suited me very well. Another thing that I could encourage you to do is to take care of yourself. Whether you're in middle life or later life and you're going back to get your degree, or you're young and you're going into nursing the first time, friends, nurses, take care of your back. Take care of your body, okay? And that means eat well and work out your glutes, okay? most nurses are going to, throughout the course of their life, experience a back injury. Okay, and this is changing now because we've got dedicated team lifts and stuff like that. You are going to be used as guinea pigs because you are seen as, especially if you're young, as having young backs. Do not fall for that, all right? Literally, don't fall for that. No false precautions, okay? You've got to be able to stand up for yourself, and you've got to be able to say, hey, I'm not strong enough to lift this person, or this needs to be a team lift. You have got to advocate for yourself. You must. If you don't do that, then you're going to end up being broken and on disability and in pain in your 40s or 50s. And that really sucks, because then you turn from being a caregiver into a patient. And nurses are the worst patients. We can be. Our standards are higher. What are you going to do? So those are just some things that I would tell you to consider. As far as things to help you, get good shoes. I used to, actually I still do, wear Danskos, and Danskos are definitely helpful. Make sure that you're also investing in your sleep. And a lot of times people want to come out and work third shift. Like, you couldn't pay me to work third shift. I have never, and I, Lord willing, will never work third shift. I'll work seconds all day long. If you do work third shifts, you have got to pay attention to your sleep and also to your adrenal glands, okay? And you've got to make sure that your nutrition is good. People who work third shift tend to have disproportionately higher rates of cancers and inflammatory diseases and autoimmune diseases and all that, all right? So don't let it just be up here. Like, we have to live health, okay, to be good nurses. And that's a challenge. We're moving now more towards 12-hour shifts, which freaking suck. I hate them. I've never liked them. I know some people are like, oh, I get my days off, 3-4 splits. Like, well, your endurance must be a heck of a lot better than mine, because I would work like 3-12 straight and then I would be recuperating for 2 days. So in effect, you're only getting 1 to 2 days of actual free time, and that's not how I want to work. So if you have the ability to work 8-hour shifts, like, hold on to that. Don't let that go and seek that out. You need balance, like you really do. You can also do things like travel nursing and whatnot. I never really had a fancy to do that, but you can, of course. The last bit of information is don't beat yourself up. Nurses have an innate ability to please, and we have a desire to please, and we want to help people, but don't beat yourself up. There are a couple of different character types that are drawn to nursing. You have nurses who are drawn to it because they're sweet people and they really care about people and they're very kind. I would like to think that's me. But let me give you a word of warning. There is a very powerful subset of nurses who are in this for control, okay? And a lot of them have come from really jacked up family lives as children, right? They've lived in either an abusive household or something messed up. And the way that they reinforce their shattered ego is to be in a position of power with a benevolent twist. Translation nursing. So you'll see this a lot of times with people who are very cutthroat, and guys and gals, any profession that is dominated by females is going to have backstabbing problems. But when you get into a profession where you are essentially in control of another person who is essentially at your mercy, it brings out the worst in people at times. So just be aware of this. Lateral violence, workplace violence, is a significant issue. It is very prevalent in female-dominated professions, very much so in nursing. So don't put up with it. And that's hard, okay? It's hard to establish boundaries, but for the love of God, you have got to do it. You have to. So, and this is me, like right now, as a nurse, like taking my little duckling, whoever you are, across the screen and saying, do not let people bully you. Do not let people lie about you. Do not let people abuse you, manipulate you, use passive-aggressive stuff. Do not let them do this, okay? And especially when it comes from management. I'm not saying be an insubordinate employee and don't do what you're told. But if you're being treated unfairly by management, there needs to be a little bit of nads. Like, right, come on, chick, like grab a set, let's go, okay? If it means that you have a conversation with your supervisor and say, hey, listen, like, I see what's going on here and I don't appreciate being singled out. Oh, you're not being singled out? Yeah, actually I am. And if you want things done this way, then you need to actually communicate with me instead of penalizing me after the fact for stuff. Oh yeah, it's happened, okay? So don't put up with lateral violence and seek these people out, all right? Just because they're a nurse does not mean they're a good person, all right? And do not talk about other people like with nurses. Do not engage in workplace gossip. Those little tasty morsels make their way back around. I know it's hard, but don't do it, okay? You're going to be in a much better, more powerful position if you keep your mouth shut and do your job and then go home and leave work and leave your buddies at work. Do not mix the two. I know we're all in the new century and whatnot, but don't do it, okay? It causes a lot of trouble, so don't do it. I hope that was helpful for you guys. I wish I would have watched this video before I had gone into nursing school. It would have probably made my life a lot easier, and perhaps I wouldn't have had to endure some of the things, make the pitfalls, mistakes, whatever that I did. But hopefully you will gain something from it. Nursing is a good profession. It's a good, secure profession, but it definitely has its drawbacks like other things, and I think that knowledge is power. And hopefully after you've watched this, you'll be armed with a few like do's and don't do's, and hopefully it'll help you. So if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to me, Patriot Nurse, like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. But check this out. All right, so if you're fixing to go into nursing school, or you have gone into nursing school, consider coming to my class. I've actually had multiple nurses, dozens of nurses come to my class. Everybody from ICU to trauma to surgical, med surg, everything in between, all right? I've also had nursing students in their 3rd and 4th year come to my class and tell me straight up, I learned more in your 2 days than I've learned in my entire 1st year of nursing school. And it's true, because I'm essentially distilling down for you everything that I have learned and all of the worth of my degrees, and all of my traveling abroad into a 2-day class. So consider coming out to class. If for no other reason than to get you equipped to take care of people if things are not so peachy and bright in the days to come. I hope it was helpful for y'all. And for now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.